Do you ever regret anything? If so, is it because you should have done something, but you didn't? Dear fellow citizens of the world, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Nick. I'm a career and performance coach. And on this channel, we talk about career mindset and personal growth. Today, we want to know why we don't take action when we need to and how we can remedy this problem. Oftentimes, we know we must do something, but we just don't do it. Why? Well, there's a few reasons for it. Number one, we don't feel the urgency of doing something. Maybe you always believe that you have time before you can complete this task or this objective, and therefore it doesn't come into play as being the most urgent thing of your day. Second, you just don't feel the motivation to do it, right? You're not in the mood. You feel like this is not the right time. I don't have energy. My mind is not focused on that. Let's put that for later. Or maybe it just doesn't feel relevant. You feel at this point in your life, at this point in your week, you believe that this is not applying to you, or it's not applying to you anymore. Fast forward a few weeks, a few months, a few years, and now you understand that you should have done it when you had a chance. Imagine you're now looking for a job. Well, don't you wish you had rewritten your CV or your resume when you were still employed? You were still in the right headspace, you had the energy, you had the income coming, thus you had no stress, and it was much easier to compile the things you were actually doing in your current or previous position and try to summarize it and make it look as professional as possible. But now you're unemployed and income is not coming in. You're running out of money, you're running out of energy, you're getting more stress. It is even more difficult now to work on your resume, try to update and tweak it because you're not in a proper headspace anymore. Now, think about investing. Don't you wish you had invested in Apple, Google, Tesla, or even Bitcoin a few years ago? How different would your life be today if you had done that when you had a chance? Now, thinking about this YouTube channel, what if I had started 2 years ago when I already was thinking about it and the idea crossed my mind, but I didn't take action at that moment and I just let it go, let it pass by. And now I started a couple months ago and maybe 2 years would have made a huge difference. So you see the pattern here, that we have the possibility to take action, and for different reasons we don't. The thing is, we might regret this lack of action in the future. So let me give you 3 tips to help you take action promptly and decisively. All right, number 1, there's this matrix called the Eisenhower matrix, named after the US president. And I'm sure you've seen that before. It really helps you figure out what you need to do now and what can be postponed for later. Essentially, as you can see on this matrix, you have 2 axes, the urgent, non-urgent, and important and not important. And when you look at this table, it's just a game now. You decide probably each day or each week, what do you think is the most urgent and important? And then you go around the circle and fill out the blanks. What is urgent and non-important? What is non-urgent, important? And what is non-urgent and non-important? When you have this picture in front of you, it's quite easy to see where you really need to put your effort. And probably the things you need to put your efforts on are the ones that are the most difficult, yet most urgent and most important. So whenever you don't feel the urgency, the motivation, the relevance of anything that you're supposed to do, look at this table, fill out the blanks, and then you understand exactly objectively what you're supposed to do at any given time. Now, the second tip, and that I've been using for quite some time because it's kind of magical the way it works. All right, you sit down at your desk, you're supposed to do something. And then again, you start daydreaming, you want to watch YouTube, you just want to jump out of your chair and do something else. Your goal right now, if anything, sit down and give yourself 10 minutes to do what you're supposed to do, even though you don't really feel like doing it. 10 minutes only, and see what happens. When you give yourself such a small time frame, it's very simple to just go for it. Because what is it after all? Try for 10 minutes and see what happens. Most of the time, you are going to feel like, after all, it's not that bad. It's not that difficult. And because your mind is already warmed up, you're so focused that you forget your lack of motivation, of relevance, of urgency. And you actually continue doing it because you're not even thinking about any distractions. Distractions might come a bit later, but at this moment, those 10 minutes have been working well for you. You might want to stop after 10 minutes, but honestly, it's pretty unlikely just because you're already into it. So try 10 minutes and see what happens. Now, the third tip to help you take action quickly and decisively, you sit down and now you have a choice. Either you go and do what you're supposed to, or you don't do it. It's that simple. Now, which one are you going for? And this is the time when you're going to do some kind of analysis of visualizing the consequences of your action or inaction. So if you act on it, visualize the benefits, the pleasure you're going to get from it. Conversely, if you don't do it, imagine what the negative consequences, the inconvenience is going to be for you. The reason why you want to visualize it is because once you visualize something, you actually live through it. You feel it, you embrace it, and then it becomes stronger as a feeling and something that you really want to act upon. More clients, you want to get a job, you want to get more money, you want to get more free time. This is what allows you to get to this positive outcome. On the other hand, if you don't do it, now look at the negative consequences of your inaction. You don't do your resume today while you still have a job, then maybe you lose your job, and then it's harder to get your resume on. You get more stress, you don't get a job, you don't get money, and the circle goes on and on. So positive outcomes versus negative consequences helps you understand where the importance and urgency of this decision is. And that really triggers more emotional responses because you visualize what your life could be or will be after you do or don't do it. So what are the 3 takeaways from today's video? Number 1, we all have a tendency to procrastinate or refuse to go through obstacles once they show up. And this leads to inaction, and we just don't do what we're supposed to do. Number 2, regrets can be a good lesson to change the way you lead your life, provided you can live with the negative consequences of inaction. And number 3, weigh in the pros and cons of acting or not acting on each decision and action you're supposed to take, and understand what the consequences are going to be and if you're okay with them. Now tell me, when was the last time you were supposed to do something but didn't do it? Maybe you forgot about it, you procrastinated, you didn't have the energy, you didn't care, and now you regret the outcome of your inaction. Think about how you could have made the situation different by going to a different thought process, and use this pattern, this system, for future decision making. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button right now and subscribe to the channel for 2 new videos each week about career mindset and personal growth. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.